Kia ora everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a genuinely fascinating research paper straight out of New Zealand from the Atlas workshop. It's called Thinking Together, a collaborative engineering model for human AI development. Look, if you're an engineer, a tech lead, or honestly just someone on LinkedIn who is paying attention to how AI is completely rewiring our daily workflows, you are absolutely going to want to hear this. We're talking about shifting away from treating AI as a basic tool and moving toward a profound, highly collaborative partnership.
So let's dive straight into the core conflict that's shaking up our industry right now. On one side, we have what everyone seems to be totally obsessed with, automation. It's that classic prompt and wait model, right? You fire a command at the machine and you step back. But on the flip side, we have what the Atlas workshop model argues we absolutely should be aiming for, true collaboration, driven by continuous calibration. It's literally the difference between shouting an order at a factory worker versus pulling up a chair at a workbench with a highly skilled colleague.
All right, Section 1, Rethinking AI Automation.
To really grasp why this paradigm shift is so incredibly important, we first have to look at the trap that, let's be honest, most developers are stuck in today. We're treating cutting-edge AI like a vending machine for code. You know the drill. A human says, hey, build this feature, the AI hums away in the background, generating hundreds of lines of code autonomously, and the human essentially walks off to grab a flat white. When they come back, they check for failure. If it didn't work, which, let's face it, happens a lot, they just tweak the prompt and drop another coin in the machine. This completely removes the human from the actual granular thinking process until the very end. We aren't just delegating the typing, we're accidentally delegating the engineering. Moving right along to Section 2, Engineering Before Code. The Kiwi alternative to that incredibly frustrating loop focuses on a radically different approach. At the Atlas workshop, they realized something absolutely fundamental. Exploring questions, challenging assumptions, and testing architectural consequences through natural conversation must happen before a single line of code is ever written. Think about how you work with your best human colleagues. You don't just march up to their desk, slap a sticky note on their monitor, and walk away. You talk. You get on a whiteboard. You figure out the why way before you execute the how. The Atlas model insists we have to treat AI the exact same way.
And this crucial point is captured beautifully in a kind of mantra they use over at Atlas. We're on the same page, let's write. Actually writing the software isn't the beginning of the process. It's simply the natural, almost effortless result of a shared understanding that you've built between yourself and the AI. By the time the actual coding begins, the heavy lifting of the engineering has already been sorted out through dialogue.
Okay, Section 3, Continuous Calibration in Practice. Let's break down how this builds into an actual, functional workflow using what Atlas calls their engine of collaboration. Rather than the human dropping a prompt and vanishing, both participants stay right there in the workshop together, cycling through 6 critical phases. You start with observation and conversation, which naturally leads to refinement. Only once you hit step 4, shared understanding, do you actually move to implementation. And after that you reflect, and the cycle repeats. Each stage naturally informs the next one. The AI isn't working independently in some black box, and you aren't just a reviewer rubber stamping a final approval. You are genuinely thinking together, in real time.
Now, this brilliantly illustrates how human agency is not just preserved, but actually elevated during this cycle. Just think about this flow for a second. Atlas proposes an idea. You question it. Atlas explains its reasoning, and then you decide. The AI doesn't just take the wheel. Instead, it acts as a highly capable collaborative reasoning partner while you retain the ultimate direction and governance. Basically, you're the conductor, and the AI is the orchestra.
Which brings us to Section 4, Human and AI Strengths.
For this continuous calibration to actually work in the real world, we have to recognize that humans and AI bring completely different yet incredibly complementary strengths to the workbench. As humans, we bring the lived, practical experience, the engineering judgment, and the philosophical direction. We bring the architectural intent and the overarching governance. Atlas, on the other hand, brings flawless structured reasoning, comprehensive documentation, absolute consistency, and the sheer power of rapid iteration. Neither participant is trying to replace the other. The real magic happens precisely because these skill sets overlap and support one another, creating an outcome that neither could possibly achieve on their own.
And this brings us to one of the most unexpected and honestly most exciting discoveries in the entire research paper. The biggest architectural breakthroughs, they didn't happen while they were actively typing out code. Instead, they emerged through something much, much simpler, just chatting together. Ordinary conversation literally became the foundation for their engineering.
Let me give you a really tangible example from the paper. The authors noted that a simple, casual chat about how to handle memory led to a profound question. Does contradiction belong in episodic memory? Or they'd ask, how should Atlas actually welcome someone walking into the workshop? Exploring these conversational threads led directly to the creation of massive foundational principles like workshop context, respectful presence, and adaptive presentation. None of these rich philosophical engineering breakthroughs would have ever seen the light of day if the human had just asked for a Python script and walked away.
Finally, Section 5, Measuring True Productivity.
If we're going to completely overhaul how we build with AI, moving away from automation and embracing true collaboration, we also have to completely redefine how we measure our success. It begs a really uncomfortable question for the tech industry. Are we actually measuring productivity right now, or are we just measuring volume? The old metrics, like lines of code generated or speed of implementation, are fundamentally flawed in an AI-driven world. They're just measuring sheer output, but volume does not equal value. 1,000 lines of bad, unguided AI code is a massive liability, not an asset.
So instead, the Atlas workflow asks us to evaluate our return on investment using far more thoughtful questions. Was the architecture actually improved? Did our shared understanding increase? Were our core assumptions actively challenged by our AI partner? Was our governance strengthened? Was the final solution actually simpler than what we started with? Did both participants learn something? By measuring understanding rather than just raw output, we ensure that the software we're building actually reflects our intended philosophy.
Everything we've discussed today boils down to one incredibly powerful realization. The value of AI is not measured by how much thinking it replaces. It is measured by how much better thinking becomes when humans and AI remain in the workshop together. We really need to stop treating AI like some autonomous factory worker that we can just offload our thinking onto. We need to start treating it as an active, engaged partner in our creative and engineering processes. That, for sure, is how we elevate our work. So if you are ready to escape that exhausting prompt and wait trap, and you want to explore this collaborative framework for your own projects, you absolutely need to head over to www.atlasworkshop-ai.nz. You can read the full research paper there and see this brilliant Kiwi philosophy in action. I promise you, it will change how you approach your daily work. I'll leave you with this final thought. If your current workflow relies on the AI doing all the heavy thinking in a black box while you just sit around waiting for the result, well, who is actually building your future? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.